Years ago, darkest moments, and one that nearly took a life. On BBC Two now, this is back.
Michael Watson rocked the boxing.
Going into that fight was immense. It was fierce, it was ugly.
He wanted that title. It's no good being a people's champion. Michael wanted to be a champion.
That's my focus, to become world champion.
The most controversial fight ever seen in a British ring left Michael Watson fighting for life. This is his story. Dalston is home to one of London's biggest black communities. Sandwiched between trendy Islington and hard-nosed Hackney, it wasn't an easy place to grow up in, particularly if you were a quiet boy like Michael Watson.
Michael wasn't always tough. He used to cry too easily, and I couldn't allow him to grow up like that. No way.
Michael was very quiet, very shy, you know, so we have to break him. I would say break him in, you know. Yes, he was very, very quiet.
Naturally shy, Michael found it difficult to cope with life on the rough and ready de Beauvoir estate and soon fell victim to the local bully.
Some boy, I don't remember the name, used to beat him up, you know, bullied him. And I always tell him, help yourself, because I can't go and fight for you, so you have to defend yourself.
It got to a point where he just went home crying, and then his uncle said, that's enough's enough, you need to learn to box, you need to learn to look after yourself.
Uncle Joe took him to the Crown and Manor, a local gym bursting with young boxing hopefuls. For Michael, it was a safe haven away from the harsh realities of East London life.
I wanted to make him a man and not just a cry man. And he came up, and I noticed that there was something in him.
To Michael, the gym felt like home the moment he stepped inside.
Seeing the punch bag for the first time, looking at boxing gloves for the first time, is truly extraordinary. I just couldn't I just couldn't wait to put my hands through them. Just to go in and smell the leather of the bags. It's truly amazing.
Things were coming out gently. Things were coming out, you know, as he got confident, his natural ability started to show. He had good ring craft, he had a good thinking brain, nice jab, good left hook. Yeah, everything clicked. In time, everything clicked together.
Boxing was me. I was in complete control. And it was only after a few weeks, I became top man in the club.
It wasn't long before Michael stepped into the ring. And as a promising junior, he started to win.
Boxing, it takes years and years of hard work. You know, it's not something which you actually can go to the gym and train for, you know, 2 or 3 weeks or 2 and 3 months. It's a sacrifice you've got to make over a period of time. From 15, 16, you know, your ultimate ambition is to become a champion, but it's a long process. It takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, and a lot of preparation.
Michael was at the gym 3 times a week and running 6 miles a day. By 1984, he moved up the ranks to fight in the Amateur Boxing Association Championships. Having failed to make the finals, Michael decided to leave the amateurs behind and turn professional.
There's, I would say, only a percentage of maybe 2 or 3% that actually make it. You know, you can't just make a champion, you've got to have it in you.
I needed a goal. That goal was to become world champion. That's my focus, to become world champion.
Michael never trained his hardest, I don't think, in the gym. You never saw him, you know, he was always relaxed when he was sparring. He never showed any true aggression when he sparred, you know. But when he fought, it was a totally different person.
The main thing I liked about Michael was that there really was no side to him. What you saw was what you got. He traded punches with some terrific amateurs throughout his, his amateur career. And as a pro, he'd learnt his trade in a very old-fashioned way, in a way that's been lost to boxing.
Wherever Michael fought, his mum could be seen and heard supporting him from the front row.
Go on, son. Go on. Go on. Punch. Jab and move. Jab and move. Yes. Uppercut. Yeah, I used to back him, yes. I enjoyed boxing.
And he's very rocky indeed. And Watson is looking for the finish right here. And Sid Nathan's waved it all.
He fought guys who were just marginally less sharp and less dangerous than him, but at the same time they pushed him. And he just took each fight in his stride, and he improved with each fight, and he was always learning, and he just wasn't flash.
But the big punching is coming from Watson, and there's another perfect example, the right hand again, and this time he may not beat the count. 8, he's done it, up at 8.
Really, he was a well-schooled, clever, skillful boxer first and foremost. It was a bonus if he hurt somebody and knocked them out. That wasn't Michael's game. Michael's game was picking holes in his opponents and winning cleverly.
But being a clever fighter wasn't enough. This was the late 80s. It was the era of flash, hype, and the great British middleweights. It was the era of Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank.
It was such a fantastic scene with so many good fighters and so many good fights that you tended to take it for granted.
This could be a real sensation, a real turn-up at the Albert Hall. Anthony Logan backs Ben up. Ben slips once again. He fights back. Fantastic.
They were terrific. Ben, Watson, Eubank. Ben was the real exciting fighter who would take on anybody. Loved what he called a tear-up. Watson was very underestimated. He was a very talented fighter. And there was Eubank, who was the real box office, the extrovert, the man that everybody wanted to see beaten. Certainly the public did. He brought a tremendous amount to the fight game.
Oh, right. Oh, this is it. Gone. This is the end of it. Gone. This is the end.
It was a good time. It was a good time to see all of these great fighters there. And I think it done a lot for young amateurs as well, seeing British guys, up there in the world title ranking.
Scary. It was very scary. But then it was about who was willing to step up to the plate and actually, be the person that they said they were.
I believe God put Maradona on this earth to score goals, Steve Davis to pop balls, and Nigel Benn to kick ass. That's the way I look at it.
He wants to come forward. He still wants to trade close in. Referee breaks them up.
All of the British middleweights were focused on title glory. Michael Watson, nicknamed The Force, had his eye on Nigel Benn's Commonwealth title.
I don't think there was rivalry with Michael, even though he was in my way. I just thought that he was just like, to me, he was just like a goody two-shoes, Michael. He never really said nothing bad about anybody. It was mostly said, go on, Michael, say something bad. Okay, because Michael was just a good guy.
I'm more of a classier fighter than Nigel Benn. I'm the sort of fighter, I work behind my left hand, and I'm more of a quality fighter than Nigel Benn. I can also punch as well.
Would you like to fight Ben?
Whenever they can fix the match, I'll be willing.
The bout was set for the 21st of May, 1989. Michael would take on Nigel Benn, the Dark Destroyer. Nigel had fought 22 fights and won by 22 knockouts.
Guarantee when I see you on the 21st, Watson, you ain't gonna have no eyes to look out of. I'm telling you, you are in serious trouble.
He was a danger, very ferocious. At the time, he was at his peak. How can this so-called Christian boy going to church fight a Dark Destroyer like Nigel and all people, and people used to laugh.
Nigel was the Dark Destroyer, meeting the Force. It was a gladiator's appointment that night.